can't agree with everybody all the time.
Beaumont City Council members get into the weeds in a fiery debate on if people can park cars on their grass. What do you think? Speak up, Southeast Texas.
Explosion and collapse at a Texas hospital. One person killed, more than a dozen injured. What caused the big blast? If you get this on your windshield, don't touch.
Again, this could be very deadly.
A flyer laced with fentanyl sends a deputy to the hospital.
And chicken standoff. Animal activists won't give them the bird and get carted away in cuffs. 12 News at 10 starts now.
Well,
so you don't need an ordinance for that.
But we've got ordinance for every conceivable thing.
The owner can tell his tenant what he will and will not
to raise others. And in my
Heightened tensions briefly at a Beaumont City Council work session today. The issue was a potential citywide parking ordinance.
If approved, those who could would be required to park cars on the roadway instead of the grass of their own front lawn. Speak up, Southeast Texas. Should people be allowed to park in their yards or park on the streets? You can vote on your 12 News Now app or 12newsnow.com/vote. With more, here's reporter Royden Ogletree.
Well,
so you don't need an ordinance for that.
But we've got ordinance for every conceivable thing.
The owner can tell his tenant what he will and will not do.
Some back and forth between Councilman W.L. Pate and Audwin Samuel regarding a potential ordinance that would prohibit cars from being parked in front yards at homes. Samuel called it governmental overreach for the city to determine where citizens could park at their homes. Pate and Councilwoman Virginia Jordan begged to differ.
We could use it in this city, and I think that we could apply it fairly. I think it's something that we need.
Dana Rothenberger, who tries to attend every meeting, feels the city already regulates too much.
I think we have enough ordinances. We have junk car ordinances. We have litter ordinances. We have weed ordinances. I don't think we need a park where I say or else ordinance. It's just, it seems like a little too much government.
However, it does not appear to be an issue that Pate holds so closely to heart as to create dissension.
You can't agree with everybody all the time, but that doesn't mean that everybody up here's major motivation is how do we make Beaumont better.
Now, nothing was voted on today, and when I spoke to Councilman Pate afterwards, he stated that he doesn't expect this item to go anywhere anytime soon.
So I know you did a little homework for yourself. You drove around the city, and how often did you see cars actually parked in yards?
You know, it wasn't as prominent as it seemed when they were debating back and forth. I went to areas off of Dowling Road and off of Gladys Avenue, and there seemed to be one in every neighborhood, but it wasn't every single house, but there seemed to be a car parked in a yard every single neighborhood, if you will.
We will continue to talk about it, won't we?
Yeah,
very good, sir. Thank you. Well, 1 dead, 12 injured. That is the toll today in an explosion at a hospital just west of Waco, Gatesville, Texas. 4 of those persons seriously hurt.
Now, images have been caught of the blast itself. Molly Oak has the latest details from Gatesville tonight.
The hospital staff is calling today's explosion catastrophic. It happened just after 2 o'clock at Coriel Memorial Hospital in the town of Gatesville, Texas, just about 30 miles north of Fort Hood. Officials believe the explosion happened in a boiler room in a new addition of the hospital. Witnesses say they heard a loud boom and saw dark clouds of smoke billowing over the hospital. We're told part of the building collapsed. And officials with Coriel Memorial say the victims are all construction workers and were taken to area hospitals with serious injuries or burns. No staff or patients at the hospital were injured, but everyone was evacuated. The exact cause is unknown tonight, but one official says a gas line could be to blame.
We understand it was a possibility of gas line and maybe some activity going on with that generated, and it was quite a blast that occurred out of there.
Officials with the hospital say they are overwhelmed with support, saying responders came from all over the region. Right now, they're not sure when the hospital will reopen. Reporting in Gatesville, Molly Oak, back to you.
Well, a Harris County deputy is being treated after touching a flyer laced with the powerful painkiller fentanyl. It can be deadly, even in small doses. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says about a dozen flyers were placed on unmarked police vehicles and civilians' cars at a police station. A sergeant grabbed one, started feeling lightheaded, and drove herself to a hospital. The flyers reference the FBI and CIA tracking people and reference so-called microwave tracking and sonic weapons.
The broader message is, we hope this is an isolated incident that we could, wrap up quickly. But if not, the general public needs to be aware because we've raised the red flag in the past about fentanyl.
Investigators are working to determine if deputies were targeted specifically and if there are more of these flyers out there somewhere.
So just how dangerous is fentanyl? Law enforcement says this synthetic opioid is powerful enough to take down an elephant. According to the Drug Enforcement Administration, fentanyl is 100 times more potent than morphine and 50 times more potent than heroin. It can be injected, snorted, smoked, ingested as a pill or tablet, or spiked on a paper. So what happens if you ingest or come into contact with fentanyl? According to the DEA, you can feel like you're losing consciousness and your pupils can change in size. Your skin gets cold, clammy, and discolored. You can fall into a coma or suffer respiratory failure. So some serious stuff here. And according to drugabuse.org, nearly half of opioid-related overdose deaths involve fentanyl. And you may recall fentanyl is the powerful drug linked to the deaths of Prince and Tom Petty.
At a minimum, we have to make sure that we vet people coming into the country. We know who's coming in. We know where they're coming from.
A legal victory for President Trump. Earlier today, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the president's controversial travel ban on Muslim-majority countries 5-4. Chief Justice John Roberts was the swing vote and argued the Constitution gives broad authority to the president to regulate immigration.
Some lawmakers on Capitol Hill called it a dark day for America, saying the president's travel ban amounts to religious discrimination against Muslims in 7 nations. Texas U.S. Senator John Cornyn disagrees.
I tell you, this is part of the never Trump resistance to mischaracterize this as being a Muslim ban. This is not a Muslim ban. It's not anything that President Obama didn't do when he was president. So I'm not surprised the Supreme Court ruled the way they did.
The president has said he has no intention to expand the ban to include other countries. The latest wrinkle in the border immigration crisis, bureaucratic trouble in the handling of undocumented immigrants caught at the border who have children.
With the president's order, children will not be separated from their families, but so far the Department of Homeland Security doesn't have the resources or coordination to handle those families. So those families with children are not being referred to federal prosecutors at all. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas explains.
My understanding of how DHS is implementing the executive order is that until they can build the resources and the coordination to keep family units together, we would not expect to see any family unit prosecutions for the misdemeanors.
Instead of being referred for prosecution, those families with children are instead being sent into detention at U.S. military bases near El Paso.
What about your weather conditions? We hope you like it hot. We're going to get a whole lot of that.
Oh boy,
warm weather.
It's just too hot.
Yeah.
And dry conditions too. When are the next chances for rain, Patrick?
Well, it looks like next Tuesday could be quite wet across southeast Texas. Hopefully we don't see a repeat of what we saw last week. It's hard to see that far out, but we do know that the rain chances will be dramatically increasing early next week. The high temperatures today were hot, to low to mid 90s all across southeast Texas. We've cooled into the lower 80s, and tomorrow morning we're expecting temperatures to be in the mid 70s, quickly rising into the lower 80s. Should be a dry commute. But take care, it'll be another hot day with highs once again in the low to mid 90s. More in your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Patrick, thank you. We are following breaking news at this hour out of Beaumont. Police investigating an armed robbery at a Family Dollar, this at Magnolia Street.
Let's go right out to reporter Troy Kless, who is live from the scene. Troy, what do you see and what have you learned?
Thanks, guys. Well, I just got on scene a few minutes ago, and as you can see, police officers are all over the parking lot of this Family Dollar. Most of the investigators are inside right now trying to figure out exactly what happened. But all the info I got from Beaumont PD Dispatch over the phone that there was an armed robbery that occurred here around 9:30 tonight. No suspect is in custody. I was not able to get a suspect description at this time, but as you can see, Beaumont police are still trying to work and see what exactly happened here. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information for you on our social media and our website, 12newsnow.com. So I'll stay out here for the time being and try and get more information and relay it back to you guys as soon as possible. But for now, live in Beaumont, Troy Kless, 12 News.
Troy, thank you. Beaumont police officers need your help in finding a suspected car thief who ditched an SUV stolen from a dealership. Police say the white male has short blonde hair and left that SUV on the I-10 frontage road near Brooks Road today. The owner of Memorial Motors in Beaumont says she actually chased the suspect herself until the SUV ran out of gas. She says the vehicle was stolen over the weekend. After the driver raced into the woods, police launched a manhunt in that area. That suspect has still not been apprehended.
Well, water pressure is still slowly building up in parts of Port Arthur. A water main break overnight left taps dry in the Lake Arthur area. Crews made repairs this afternoon to restore water. This is the second water main break in just 3 days. The director of utilities blames the recent heavy rains and possibly old infrastructure. Take a look at this, a dangerous catch near St. Louis Pass. A fisherman reels in a shark over the weekend, and this photo right here has gone viral. It looks like the shark is cheesing for the picture. See that big smile?
Big smile. Very happy about this day. Alice Jensen caught the moment on camera, took a picture of the shark on the beach. Pretty big one, too, really. Look at that. The fisherman then let the shark go.
No.
Yeah, Jensen says she's not giving up on going to the beach anytime soon, even after seeing that shark up close and personal.
I would be a little bit leery.
Always nice to see that sportsman spirit out there at St. Louis Pass.
I thought you let the small catch go back. I mean, but once you're reeling a shark?
Not the big one. You take that down to Papa Do's. Thank you now. Well, graduation's always a magical time, but for people who took their second chance to get their GED, just look at how magical it can be. Well, tonight, dozens of Southeast Texas took a huge step on their personal educational path.
As Troy Kless reports, they graduated after working hard to get their GEDs and take a big step forward in life.
Graduation music signals a time of change. Over 40 people were able to walk across the stage and get their GEDs. That includes Deanna Tiller from Kuntz, who is expecting her first child very soon.
I feel really great. I'm super stoked about what just happened. The ceremony was incredible. I feel so lucky to have been able to participate in it.
And Deja Sinclair was able to graduate in front of her 1-year-old daughter, Malaya.
You know, anybody else would have, after high school, if they didn't get their diploma, they would have never, tried to go back and get it. But me, I'm dedicated and I'm very much motivated.
Her daughter is her motivation to become a nurse, and Deanna wants to work in business. That window of opportunity is now open thanks to Region 5 adult education and the Beaumont Public Library System.
A lot of these students struggled in the regular classrooms, in regular public school classrooms, and so they're given a lot of attention in both our programs, and we make sure they succeed.
That success is something that Tiller and Sinclair will celebrate.
To have stepped back and then come back whenever we were ready and still be able to do this, it's a real blessing.
I'm very proud of myself. I did it all for my daughter, so I can give her a better life.
In Beaumont, Troy Kless, 12 News.
My mama got her GED and did very well for us. So proud of you, graduates. Region 5 adult education serves Hardin, Jefferson, and Orange counties.
On this date, back in 1986, a very small Category 1 storm known as Bonnie struck southeast Texas. Quite a bit of tree damage and power outages in the Triangle. More on your forecast just ahead on 12 News.
A truck carrying live chickens crashes in Washington state, leading to a one-hour standoff with an animal rights activist. Police took one activist into custody after she grabbed a live chicken and refused to give it back.
It started when a semi-truck loaded with nearly 6,000 chickens tipped over, scattering hundreds of thousands of birds onto the roadway. The group wanted to bring the chicken to a sanctuary, but the owner of the chickens, Foster Farms, says it is liable for any health risks associated with the birds.
Yeah, I'll do it. I like mine crispy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Good evening, Southeast Texas. Hope you're doing well. Your weather headlines. 10 to 20% coverage coming up right on through Thursday. That means tomorrow on Thursday. Maybe a little bit better chance coming up on Friday. Then it looks hot, humid, and hazy, and mainly dry coming up this weekend. Going to see some Saharan dust all the way across the Atlantic, right on into Texas as we head towards the weekend, and that could spell some problems for you allergy sufferers. And then heavy rain, boy, in a hurry there. Heavy rain possible next Tuesday. I'll show you why in just a few minutes. Looking at our outdoor forecast for tomorrow, the UV index going to be extreme at 11, and of course the heat index at summertime 101 to 105. Nothing on satellite, nothing on radar here in our neck of the woods. It's a quiet night, but boys, it's really thick out there. Look at the humidity levels, at least 80%, so it is certainly feeling like that. As we're looking at temperatures, 80 here in Beaumont, over in Mauriceville, Lynn at 85, in Hampshire, Tim reporting 84, and in Port Arthur, MJ reporting 82 to the north. In Woodville, Travis at 81. In Warren, Jim Monk reporting 79. Across the state, temperatures are into the 80s and 90s. Not much to see here. It's summer, right? Quiet weather. Let's see, is there any rain on the state radar at all? Maybe a shower over in far west Texas, but that's abating. Watching some pretty big storms moving on to the southeast over into western Tennessee, but that is weakening. So let's take a look at Futurecast. Tomorrow, 10, maybe 20% coverage, but let me back up a little bit. Tonight's going to be a warm night, no doubt, with temperatures into the middle 70s. Then tomorrow, Futurecast trying to give us about a 10 to 20% coverage. Looks low as far as our rain chances with high temperatures into the low to mid 90s. Now, you're looking at the amount of moisture in the air. So for tomorrow, not too much. We'll give it a 10, again, 20% coverage. A little better chance of rain possible as this deeper moisture moves in on Friday. And Saturday and Sunday looks pretty quiet. Then we're going to be watching this big surge of tropical moisture moving across the northern Gulf of Mexico right into our laps as we head on into late Monday and especially Tuesday. This could spell, once again, the potential for heavy rainfall. Very early right now, but when you see that amount of moisture, things work out, could see some locally heavy rainfall in the offering. So on the Gulf of Mexico, looking at slightly choppy seas around 1 to 2 and a south wind at 5 to 10 knots. Your coastal marine forecast. Our forecast tonight, mostly clear, warm and humid. Some patchy fog possible. Temperatures into the mid 70s. Could be a little cooler up in the lakes area. Then for tomorrow, we'll give it a 10, perhaps 20% coverage, mainly in the Triangle. High temperatures, low to mid 90s. Extended forecast. Green bar days coming up Thursday. Friday, may want to keep an eye to the sky if you're on that picnic or at that Little League game, or if you're out on the pool, give it a 30% coverage. Hot, hazy, and humid this weekend. Then we'll be watching very closely next Tuesday.
Thanks, Patrick. Lance is up next with sports.
Tonight, I take you to a wooded golf course that you may or may not know about, right where Adams Bayou crosses MLK Drive in Orange, Texas. They call it the Naz, and this Saturday, some of our best local golfers will look to win the second annual Battle on the Border.
I have baskets instead of a hole, and I throw it instead of hit it.
This is Larry Martin, veteran member of the Professional Disc Golf Association.
This is a driver. It's a sharper edge, The second disc that used is a mid-range, which will not drive quite as far as your driver will. The last one is a putter.
And with every hole in orange set at par 3, you can bet your short game can make or break you. Tanner Gerard is a rising phenom on the tour. He recalls his first tee toss at a major event.
Yeah, it was very nerve-wracking on the first hole because I'd never been on camera before. But after that, pretty much played the whole round smooth.
They say once you pick up the disc and start making shots like that, you'll toss out the clubs.
For me, I started ball golf when I was younger, and I played for probably 18 years, and I just got into disc golf the last 3 years, and it's totally different. Like, you get to throw it with your hand, the physics and everything is just completely different.
Gerard's best round with a disc, a 39, that's 15 under, but not everyone is as dominant as him. Not everyone has a disc golf course right down the road either.
Larry had a dream. He wanted the course. He wanted the course. He wanted the PDGA professional tournament. And he worked real hard and diligent, and he got it taken care of.
And then it just works around the property around our church.
Nice. So check it out.
All right, we got to take off for hole number 1.
This is Martin's Course of Dreams. 18 holes he built, and his friends came.
Object on this hole is to keep the disc down low.
Turns through narrow wooded fairways, water hazards, plenty of pine branches, and of course, some tricky basket locations.
It was fun to put out.
And just like ball golf, there are caddies, bags, and etiquette terms.
Most of the people want to call it frisbee golf because that's the way it come from. It derived from it, but it is not a frisbee. It's a different than frisbees. It throws different distances than frisbees do.
So the next time you get frustrated at the range or on the green, remember, you can always trade in your Big Bertha for a sharper edge driver. Don't call it frisbee golf. Charlie Morton on the hill for the Astros tonight. Looking to bounce back after the loss of the Blue Jays last night. Evan Gattis, haven't seen him turn it up a notch in a while. 2-run score on that single. Then in the 6th inning with a 2-0 lead, Jake Marisnick hits a 3-run homer. Alex Bregman also goes yard tonight. The extra point is good. Houston wins by a touchdown, 7-0. More right after the break.
Okay, it looks like you prefer parking in the yards.
That's 87%,
No.
it seems right now. There you have it.
Thank you for speaking of Southeast Texas.
People have, in fact, spoken. What's up in the weather, though?
Fairly quiet right on through the weekend, and some possibilities of locally heavy rainfall coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, week out.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We appreciate you. Have a great night.
Not ruining my yard. Tires.